From the northern shores and woodlands to the west, it's history. From copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fishery, to the farmlands of the southern counties and east to Chesapeake Bay. Look at all that waits the sportsman across the USA. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, the stillness of the forest is encased in Arctic cold. The wind might whisper through the trees, listen to it say, the beauty of our great outdoors across the USA.
Hi there, come on in. The white bass are hitting in the north. Now, they don't stay in the rivers too long. They spawn and move back out to the lakes, but for a 2 or 3 week period, the fishing is as fast as you'll ever experience. We'll take you along, show you what it's like. Then grab your shotgun or hunting rifle so we can show you some shooting tricks, easy ones that you can do safely and have fun with recreational shooting. Kathy Beitler has a recipe for salmon loaf. Bob Garner has outdoor headlines and commentary. All this coming up in just a moment, so you stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's time for the Outdoor Digest. Rivers are especially good for spring fishing because of the many varieties of fish that make their annual spawning runs up the rivers. In a 2 to 3 week period, a species will be thick in a river and fairly easy to catch. What brings us to this river? Bob Garner's master angler white bass. Mounted by Doris and Keith Lutz of Captured Memories Taxidermy in Saginaw, it's on display at our Hunting and Fishing Museum at Houghton Lake.
Doubles? Well, should I throw back out and try for a triple?
We made the trip last week. The white bass had just begun their run and fishing was picking up.
Now this is a smaller one, but I'll get my money's worth.
There he is.
We got him?
This is a big one here.
This is a big fish here.
Is it? Oh, yeah. That's pretty close.
That one's, see a big belly on that one?
This one.
The weight of white bass in the spring is basically in the eggs they carry, not the flesh on their bones. But we kept a few of them for the table. There's lots of lures you can use for white bass, including most of the crankbaits you have in your tackle box. Since we're in a river in a relatively shallow water, you're probably not going to want a big-lipped crankbait like that one. It would dive too deeply and hang up on the bottom. A shallow diver would be more practical.
You can cast near a shore like this without too much problem of getting hooked up, because you can tell this bank is a steep bank, and probably it dips right down into the water, so you can cast next to the shore. There's going to be quite a drop-off, so your lure can drop down there. Of course, the fish like to hang along that drop-off, too, but they don't like my new crankbait. There, this is a good one. That's some fresh territory. There we go. I had one hit.
I didn't give those crankbaits much of a chance. Bob Garner and Keith Lutz were doing well with them, so I switched to ultralight tackle using a small jig and wigwag tail. Now, the hook rides up on a jig, hopefully not snagging anything on the bottom. Some anglers like the tail curling towards the hook, not down away from the hook like I have it here. Well, I tried it both ways. I couldn't see much difference. Caught just as many fish. Those white bass don't give up easy, and when they flip out of your hand, you've got to watch it.
I tell you, you got to be careful in these things.
I'll give you a lesson on the sharp fins of a white bass in a minute, but let's talk about the damage that these scrappers do to lures, especially the soft plastic twister tails and those soft plastic wigwags.
Another problem you run into with these twister tails after you catch a couple fish is they get torn up. So when that plastic tears, you'll never keep it on the hook right, so you can just tear it off, put a new one on. You want to make sure you thread the twister tail down quite a ways on the hook. Don't pop out with it too early. Thread it right down around the corner so it comes out about at the end of the grub portion. Push it over the tip, and that's the way it should ride. So it'll ride in the water like that. And that shouldn't slide down.
Great whites all over, right in there, right in there, right?
Well, I
Look
will.
at this one. Whoa!
That is a nice
This is
one.
the nicest one of the day, right here. This is, whoa, he's got one.
I don't think this is as big as yours, but go ahead if you want to swim a little bit. I thought I might as well try a technique that Bing McClellan taught me with smallmouth bass, lifting them underneath the belly, which paralyzes smallmouths and largemouths. But would it work on white bass?
Another 15
They
inches.
settle right down. Isn't that amazing? Now for the lesson on fins. I name one of them wrong. Do you know which one?
Whoa! Little one.
When you're holding a white bass, you got to really be careful because of the spines. They have them on almost every fin. Here on this back dorsal fin, there's a spine that comes down right there. You can see that. You can catch your fingers on that one. Of course, all of these dorsal spines, if I let those up, all of those can really cut your fingers, so you push those down. The anal fin has spines on it right at the back, and every time this flips, boy, you can cut yourself just as they slide through your hands. But even the pectoral fins here, it's going to be tough to show you these, but right here, these pectoral fins have spines. Not only that, the gill covers, right there, you see that edge on the gill cover? Those are sharp all along there. So when you handle these white bass, as they flip around, you got to watch all of the spines on all of the fins. Now, the pelvic fin is on the bottom. The pectorals on the sides are the only soft fins that aren't a hazard. Keith Lutz fishes walleye and largemouth and smallmouth bass most of the year, except in May, when he'll catch and release up to 300 white bass in a day, just for practice.
Good eating size fish.
Yeah. Now, out in the bay later in the summer, are they still as white like that?
Yep, they really don't change color at all.
For
but,
spawning or anything?
No, they just get less in weight, and the guys pick them up there walleye fishing. You know, they'll troll along with Hottentots, and they'll pick the fish up out there.
And you say they weigh less later in the year?
Oh, yeah.
After they spawn?
Yeah, this one here, she's got some eggs in her right here, and once she drops her eggs, she'll just flatten right out. You can see how thin the fish is up in here, and that's just about how thin they get. They just lose all their body weight. And this is about the only time you can really catch the big,
The heavier
fish.
ones.
Yeah, the heavy fish.
There we go. It's among the fastest action in the world of fishing, a springtime ritual on their spawning rivers. Not bad on the table either, the scrappy little white bass. You know, that action is about as fast as you'll ever find in fishing. It's usually that way in the spring when the fish are spawning and you can catch them on their spawning runs, on the beds. But that is not normal fishing. In fact, believe it or not, I have many days that I go out and get skunked. Always have, always will. People luck into fishing very frequently, and the luckiest ones end up in our trophy. Although owls have eyes in the front of their heads, like humans, there's one main difference in their ability to focus. What is it? Humans can move their eyes to look around without moving their heads. Owls cannot move their eyes in their sockets, so when an owl follows a moving object, it must move its head.
We have more than 6,000 competitors here at the Grand. The Amateur Trap Shooting Association has over 100,000 members shooting across the United States. There are probably 1 million or more shooters that enjoy our recreation to some degree. It is, in fact, the largest shotgun shooting sport in the world.
I shoot here with my husband. We shoot at all of our local clubs in Illinois during the year and work towards this. This is the World Series of trap shooting. This is what every trap shooter works their whole year for.
I've been shooting for 10 years now, coming to the Grand. Just got Matt started this summer. Now he's beating me already.
With all the bad press that guns take nowadays, you know, some people think there's no redeeming value to having even sporting guns. Let me show you in this next feature how you can take .22 shotguns and have some fun with some safe shooting tricks. The ability to shoot targets in the air has always amazed me. It's a fairly simple concept. Looks easy enough. Oh, the arrow ticked the edge. You can see it and you can hear it. How does somebody even come close with a longbow? That amazes me. But Norm Blaker doesn't have any trouble hitting a tennis ball in the air. These flu-flu arrows with large feathers don't fly very far, so this is safe. I thought that was really amazing shooting until I saw Norm hit coins out of the air. A 50-cent piece. He and Ron LeClaire can do this consistently. The most amazing thing I've seen them do is hit aspirins out of the air. I'm talking about those little white pills, not even as big as your fingernail. You can see it against the sky as I'm moving it up and down in slow motion. Watch for it to come down. It doesn't. Ron LeClaire hit it and deserves a round of applause. Now, watch this trick with a shotgun. Dave Strickland can not only hit 3 clay pigeons, which he tosses into the air himself, but he can hit 4. The 4th one didn't hit the ground. He powdered it just in time. Always wanted to be a crack shot like that. That always seemed more fun than shooting at paper targets. And there are ways that you can use your hunting guns to have more fun when you're shooting, but you have to be a little creative. You also have to be safe. Wear ear protection every time you shoot, because shooting will cause hearing loss if you don't protect yourself. And wear eye protection, too.
The Coke can there on the right.
The can is empty. Looks like I missed. Missed again. But actually, I hit it all 3 times. A .22 bullet usually goes right through aluminum cans, which means they don't jump and dance when you hit them square. See, there are 3 holes in, 3 holes out. I hit it, but, it wasn't that much fun. The way to have fun shooting cans is hitting them on the bottom where they meet the ground.
Whoa! Yeah! Here's the one full of water.
That was a miss.
Oh, there, I got it.
Part of the enjoyment is seeing how much you can do to the cans. Now, the one can there with water in it exploded from hydrostatic shock. The other can I nailed on the edge as it was lying down. That's what makes them jump into the air. Now, shooting containers full of water can be a lot of fun. Save your plastic gallon milk jugs, or if you're in a bind, you can buy them for 25 cents a piece from a dairy store. Fill them full of water. If you have lids, it would even be better. It's kind of fun to try different bullets on milk jugs. I'll use a .22 hollow point first, then a 20 gauge with number 8 shot, then one with a slug. Here's the .22 hollow point. No big deal, not a lot of wallop. Now the shotgun with an open choke. That's even less impressive, but you can see the pattern it throws. And now the 20 gauge slug. Oh, that's impressive. Gives you a good idea of how potent a shotgun slug really is. What about a .44 Magnum? It throws a heavy bullet, and a hollow point like this would probably do a number. Tim Farragon shows how the .44 kicks. This is a hunting handgun. Long barrel, builds a little more pressure and velocity, sends a shock right back through your arms. It's not uncomfortable to shoot, but it is a powerful gun. Now, the jug. 44 packs a punch, all right, but let's compare the small diameter, high velocity 22-250. Now, there's a lot of speed there with the big boy, the 7mm Magnum. Tim will load this into a bolt-action hunting rifle. Now, this fast 22-250 is accurate at long ranges. Splattered that milk jug in pretty good shape. But now let's try the 7 Mag, a heavy bullet with a big powder charge behind it. Oh, that's neat. Now let's get a side view in slow motion.
Well, that jug blew apart, and there's a rain shower in all directions. I like that. Now, there's got to be more we can do with water. Water balloons make great aerial targets. They're cheap, they're colorful, they explode. It's almost like a fireworks display if you hit one square. If you can get a hold of an old grapefruit someplace, try that as a target. No, that was not a square hit. That one was. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown it straight up over my head, though. They're easy to hit that way. Now I'm going to try Tim Farragut's 410 barrel on the Thompson Contender frame. I'll toss a clay pigeon into the air myself. The trick is to toss it straight up and shoot fast. All this shooting has been at close range. Once I got the hang of it, it wasn't as tough as I had thought. These simple shooting tricks are things you can try on a shooting range. The fun targets aren't expensive. Just make sure that you clean up when you're done. Take a plastic garbage bag along for that. Wear ear and eye protection. Follow the rules of gun safety, and you'll find you'll learn something from recreational shooting. It's just one more way to enjoy sporting guns in our great outdoors.
I think almost anybody, even an anti-gun type person, would have fun with shooting that way. So many people enjoy video games, enjoy shooting baskets. Hey, using guns, if you do it safely, could be a lot of fun. Another thing that's a lot of fun is to have some of our great fish recipes.
Chuck Johns has sent us a different type of recipe, a salmon rice loaf. Be perfect for company because everything goes all in one dish, basically.
Oh, boy, look at that salmon. That's as good as looking salmon as you'll ever find.
That's right.
You're going to trim that?
Just get that little bit of fat off there. And you want to boil your salmon. And you could use leftover salmon if there is such a thing.
Oh, and the salmon, I see
That's
it's in
right.
the bottom of
That's
that bowl
right
there.
And then you're going to add minute rice and a couple of eggs and some fresh parsley, a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, some salt and pepper, and really make just an excellent rice loaf here. And this is evaporated milk and butter, and you're going to pour that on. And then that all goes into the oven.
It sounds tasty. I'm not sure why, but it just sounds very good.
And then that goes into a butter dish, and you bake that. And then you put on a cheese sauce over the top of that when it comes out. It's got mustard, dry mustard, and your evaporated milk.
Hold up, dry mustard. Could you use regular squeeze?
You could, but you only want to use just a little tiny bit, and this dry mustard really does have a different flavor. And then cubed Velveeta cheese, and then some of your cheddar cheese. And you just want to melt that all together, and that really makes an excellent sauce for this salmon rice loaf.
So that sauce goes on top of the loaf that is in the oven.
As you serve it. Yep.
I'll be darned. You got to flip.
Yep, you got to invert it.
I remember when you did that. As I recall,
would love this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because kids like, chips and nachos and all that. Oh, it's terrific.
You don't have quite enough salmon to go around.
My kid would
make it go a long ways.
My kid would have to be doggone fast to get a second help into this stuff, I'll tell you that.
I imagine he is doggone fast by now.
Yeah.
He's learned.
Very good.
this recipe for salmon rice loaf is amazingly good. In fact, you'll love that cheese sauce if nothing else. The step-by-step instructions are...
Well, we showed you white bass fishing, something that takes place in a short span of time in the spring. If you miss it, well, there's lots of other fishing to do. Whatever you do, if you can, get outdoors this weekend. It's a great place to be. See you next week.